Hello everyone, Sable here with another match from UUCL. We are into week 5, which will have 3 matches. So without further ado, let's hop into it. It's Wanted in 49 States versus Magialice. Here we go. We've got a Ninetales lead versus a Kang. This is definitely Ninetales favored, and Alice choosing to just stay in and go for it, but gets burned. So really, really rough start. Oop, much less rough now. So Ninetale's still going to win this, barring a miss, but that helps make up a lot of lost ground because now this can be revenge killed by anything fast. Like a Dougie, that helps. So Wanted choosing to preserve here and going to Lapras on the Earthquake, gets away without a crit. And I wonder if he clicks Sing. Nope, doubling the Moltres on a predicted another. Well, I guess not predicted Earthquake. I guess it's predicted probably Hypno or Lapras is likely to come in. So nice double from him, gets Moltres in and gets a crit on Hypno, which makes this look a lot better already. And that Thunder Wave probably not going to help enough against this double fire offense. I wonder if he agility'd here. Either way, Dragonite probably would have forced this out. So now going to go to Haunter, pretty safe switch into this Dragonite. And this is looking horrible for Alice already. Pivoting to Ninetales, so expecting a switch to something else. I kind of am wondering about that Ninetales switch. I figured if anything is going to come in, okay, I guess there's 2 options. You go Hypno if you think Hypnosis is coming, right? And you try to sack that to sleep so that you can get away from the Haunter with as little damage as possible. But you could also go to Doug if you think that your opponent is going to attack, predicting the Hypno to come in. So I guess Wanted kind of lost a bit of a quote unquote 50-50 there with that idea. But either way, like I don't know if I love the Ninetales. I think you could have just either I guess it's either click Hypnosis or switch to Ninetales. So it's a reasonable play. Well, Lapras going to come in to force Doug out, but only going to get 7% on the incoming Lapras, and now potential pivot. Interesting switch. I wonder. Okay, so if you're going to Hypno, you think this Lapras is going to sing, but T-Bolt would have been a really reasonable click there that covered that and hit Lapras hard. So both of them really dancing around with sleep here, but Wanted going to get the better of it this time with Haunter in. And clicking Hypnosis, thinking that Alice is going to switch on this Nightshade to get Dugtrio in. So Alice actually either choosing to sack and get momentum back by getting Doug in after the sack, or expecting that, but I think more likely she just wanted to sack the Hypno, get Dugtrio in, reset momentum. With the Moltres paralyzed, like the Doug looks poised to do a lot of damage, and if Wanted booms here, this is over. Yeah, expecting the Dugtrio, but doesn't get the kill roll, which to be fair is like a 1 out of 3 roll, but Doug now very low. And another Blizzard, so no Body Slam click or anything like that. Interesting. Okay, so it looks like it might be Sing Confuse Ray. And going for Confuse Ray, trying to stop Alice from clicking Sing here and getting away with it at first. But no Sing coming, just the T-Bolt. Which makes sense. She was confused at the start of the turn and expected to be confused, which means that Sing's only like a 27.5% hit. But getting T-Bolt para'd, and now this looks bad because like a confusion in the self-hit could be pretty bad. A paralysis could be pretty bad. Like there's a lot of ways this can go wrong, and Wanted taking the safe route of just attacking, knowing that he's going to win this 1v1. And basically, as long as something can deal with Dugtrio and Dragonite, this looks really, really bad. Dragonite going to be the guy to come in first. And if Wanted has an answer to this, this looks horrid, but the answer is Hypno, which is probably not ideal. Doug looking a bit scary now. Like it really looks like Doug could win this game. And Alice just looking for damage with those body slams. And of course, if you get the para as a bonus, it's pretty good. But para plus getting dropped is making this look really, really bad. That crit is pretty irrelevant. But the Dragonite is dropped, so keep in mind it is still slower than Hypno. And Hypno's not in Doug range, so she's going to have to use her last to beat this, which is Dodrio, which is pretty ideal. Wanted not willing to make a hard call out on the Hyper Beam and go hard Moltres or something. So what's last? Or, okay, Moltres going to come in first. And that's a free agility. I don't know if I love that. I think you just had to go for it with Dodrio. Yeah, I think letting Moltres get agility up like this is a fatal mistake. Now you have to go back to Dodrio anyway. Yeah. Like banking on paras, but letting that set up I think is a mistake. I think you just have to go in with Dodrio, hope it paras once or twice, and that you just win. And then you have Dodrio plus Dugtrio versus whatever's left. But now just going for the Hyper Beam crit because there's no other play. I do think maybe Agility first was technically... Agility first is probably technically correct, just in case that you get to crit out the last or something, but either way, I think switching out of Dodrio was the fatal mistake. Letting Moltres set up for free meant that it could just clean up, and wanted wins with a double fire offense. Very risky looking team here. I have to imagine the last Pokemon is something bulkier like a Kangaskhan or a Dragonite or a Gyarados, because a lot of problems with Dugtrio on this team. On Alice's side, it looks like just a ton of physical offense with a little support from the Dragonite. Not too much to say there. Kang in the lead, Dodrio in the back to just push a lot of physical offense. I think this is like a very unfavored team style in a double fire, but I think she kind of had it until some choices I think were maybe not the most optimal, but works out in Wanded's favor, so let's hop into game 2. Golem leads, taking a page out of Maris's book into Dragonite. Not the lead you really want to see there, but at least you have a very safe pivot to Lapras. And wanted mid-grounding on with a body slam. And then T-bolting, expecting maybe a Sing comes through or some other predict, but just gets blizzarded in the face. This Dragonite lead ends up getting half a Lapras and going down. Not the worst trade. But then if you're going to send Hypno in to sleep it, then it's kind of not a great trade. I do kind of wonder if maybe the right play for Wanted was to double the Hypno, because I think Lapras is a pretty reasonable send into Dragonite. But it is tough because, like, if, for example, Alice has a Haunter and that doubles in on the Dragonite, which is pretty safe, then it's really horrible to have Haunter in front of Hypno and just lose your whole Hypno to sleep. But I do think if you're leading Golem, you probably don't have a Haunter in back. I have to imagine it's kind of crappy to get swept by Dugtrio if you're running that much ground weakness. Wanted very proactive going to Kang right away to not let in like a Hypno or something so freely, and gets a crit para. And now this looks horrible for Alice, but it is just out of body slam range. So Wanted making the prediction with the Hyper Beam and Alice not predicting that and going to Golem. I think it was very reasonable to click either play, and if this Kang has counter, this game looks pretty over. No counter. I think if I'm Wanted, I'm just going to Hyper Beam here, and Alice willing to go for the para or the Hyper Beam miss, but gets crit, and this one's just over. That's so sad. Yeah, like it's not even in Golem range, so now it's going to get a free Earthquake or Blizzard or what have you, unless it paras. At least there's some small mercies. This game is like quote unquote evened out, but the Lapras is asleep. So now Wanted going to Hypno. I wonder if there's not a Lapras or what, because you've already got Hypno down. Why wouldn't you just send Lapras to clean this up? Either way, choosing to send Hypno first, maybe fearing an Articuno or some other Pokemon that would really punish. But I don't think that you can go through this Lapras here. I get the idea to pivot through it and everything, but or to reset, but now you can just get Hypnosis. But I guess maybe you're doing this in the hopes that Wanted will greed a little bit and you can get away with something because you need to get something to win this. But Wanted just piling on the physical offense, and Alice doesn't seem to have much recourse. Victory Bell, if it gets the sleep here and doesn't get Drill Peck critted or miss, could actually do something, but we'll see. No crit? Does it hit? No, of course not. Victory Bell always chokes. I hate this Pokemon so much. And now it's 3 versus 1, and I can't imagine that Alice has much that'll actually save this game. Persian, maybe one of the Pokemon more likely to... Are you kidding me? For those who didn't see that, in Gen 1, there's a 255 out of 256 chance for moves that auto-crit to actually crit. So Persian just rolled a 1 in 256, not on its accuracy, but on its crit rate. And Wanted H-beamed anyway, thinking, okay, my Dodrio is going to die next turn, so let's take my damage. So it ultimately does not matter, but like it really is the insult to injury on top of this already really unlucky set. Now Buzz gonna come in. If she has Hyper Beam, she has to click it and go for okay. Hello. But the last is gonna be Lapras, so Persian cannot crit through this. It needs T-Bolt Paralysis into full para or a Blizzard Miss or something. So Wanted does get there in the end, although Alice threatens to steal it back from right under him. But either way, quick set, one of 3 that we've got this week, and I don't really have much more to say on this one, so congrats to Wanted, unfortunate for Magialice. That's the end of the first game of week 5. Yep, so click the buttons, let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments if you have any video ideas. Someone suggested to me a couple videos back, like laddering RBY OU. I do have to say, laddering is incredibly like mentally exhausting for me because I feel like I can't take it as seriously as a tournament match, and it just kind of burns me out. But some days I do get I get an itch to ladder, so if I ever do, I'll probably record it. But for now, that's all I've got for you, UCL, for today anyway, and I'll see you in the next one.